Welcome back to the Father of the Man podcast. I'm Derrick, one of the hosts.
I'm Wade Johnson, the other host.
What we talk about today, Wade?
We talked about how a boy is not a man and a man is not a boy, and what's the difference between a boy and a man, and how can we be better at being men and not boys.
You had me at not boys.
The man of independent mind. He looks and laughs at all.
A man is not a boy.
I agree.
All right. Sweet, man.
What makes you say so?
Yeah. the title of the episode made me say so.
Nice.
So now we have to roll with it. No, so this is the final piece in our epic saga of 3 episodes of a man is not a woman, a man is not an animal, a man is not a boy. Yeah?
Would you just call it an epic?
Yeah. Wait, what'd I say?
Epic saga.
Oh, it's just, oh, come on.
Is it an epic or is it a saga?
You were just saying we needed to be less pretentious.
That's a good point.
Come on, man. Yeah, so this is our epic or saga on what a man isn't. And I think this one has a whole lot to discuss. Mm-hmm. Because like we were talking about before the podcast started moments ago, you know, you've got your problems with the whole effeminacy. What is that word? Effeminacy. Acting like a girl.
Oh, for a man. Yeah.
Being a girly man, if you will.
Being a girly man.
Right. You got that. And there's you know, that's a good thing to not be. But I feel like, you know, that's a smaller percentage of guys that may struggle with that. And then not an animal. Like that's a good counterpoint to the alpha male movement and some of the, you know, bad thinking that goes on there. But man is not a boy is kind of the epicenter of this whole discussion we're having as far as raising up boys into men, striving to grow into further into masculinity ourselves. I feel like a lot of more frequent errors for men are in the boy category.
I agree. I think it's probably
Right.
like the animal episode and the man is not a woman episode. Obviously, those are traits that men can find themselves going toward.
Sure.
But man was never a woman and man was never an
Yeah,
animal, but man was a boy.
Very good.
So there's the transition from boy to man that happens in every single man's life, and it's just a matter of how rocky that transition went.
Yeah. Well said.
Thanks, man.
No, seriously, because
Yeah.
it does simplify it a lot. It's like, yeah, well, that makes sense because you are a boy and then you're growing into a man. And with our culture, the way it is, I think other cultures in the past and maybe even currently do a better job of like marking that transition from boyhood to manhood.
Yeah.
And society holds them to a different expectation at a certain point that's really clear, like a line in the sand or an initiation ritual, if you will.
Yeah.
And we don't really have that in our culture. So I think that only serves to blur the lines even more.
I totally, man. And we live in a culture that's specifically geared towards stunting that.
Yeah.
Like not just stunting like what it is to be a man, but just in general, like adulthood. It's like Lindsay and I were talking the other day. Because we've been watching, you know, like the World Series was happened recently.
Stickball or whatever.
Yeah, stickball base.
Yeah, cool.
Game. And but it was crazy. I was remarking the other day watching like the commercials. There's such a huge percentage of these commercials. First of all, it's just weird because it feels very dystopian. Like some of the, like a lot of like the medical commercials, which we've all seen, but like for different medications, it's just this crazy. Like it feels like Brave New World where they're like this will make everything happier for you, and it's like this like rosy thing, and it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's like take this pill and all your problems go away.
Yep.
Other than like all the cancer that you're gonna get from it, but you can address that later.
Right.
But no, the thing that I really picked up on that I thought was odd, and I don't know if it just stuck out more because I've been thinking about this stuff more as we do this podcast.
Yeah.
But like so many of the commercials, they feature like late 20s, early 30s men and women who are all singles and they don't have families, and it's all like dating apps and like all these things.
Yeah.
Like there's this intense focus on like, you know, you and go enjoy your time and like hook up with your, you know, ex high school sweetheart for a night, and that's a win for the app. Like,
right.
But it's kind of it's just weird because you're watching all these like grown men doing like all like boyish things throughout the commercial, and it's like yes, this is what you could have too. And it's just it was just weird. I was like, this is strange. Like it's like specifically marketing to men to act like boys.
Yeah. No, that's a really good. Yeah, that's a really good observation. Because I think that's a great example of how our culture actively pushes guys back. It's you know your culture will move to what it honors, right? And it's that
Yeah.
idea of like this like focus on honoring boyhood and prolonging it, as opposed to being like, no, boyhood's great when you're a boy, and then you need to grow into manhood. And there's not a lot of broad cultural elevation of manhood. That's why we're here. That's, you know, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's exactly right. So then, what are attributes of boyhood that men should be growing out of, that boys should be growing out of? Like you know, where the rubber meets the road? Because we can talk about kind of, and we have talked about like this zoomed out view of all this stuff. So getting down into the nitty gritty, what are things that are boyish that men should leave behind when they become men?
That's the question.
Yes.
Are you asking me to answer that
I don't know.
question?
Do you want me to read the list?
Well,
We
here's
have
the
a
thing.
list.
I was going to say, I have this handy list next to me that my buddy wrote.
All right, cool. Do you want to read the boy list or the man list?
Oh, I want to read the boy list.
Okay. All right. Cool.
The boy list.
So this is just off the cuff things that we kind of came to our heads as far as attributes that boys tend to have ingrained in them from their youth. Now, this is not a list of like every boy is going to have all these problems.
Oh, for
necessarily.
sure. Yeah.
But these are just things that are pretty typical of boyhood and of boys in general that we think that are negatives.
Yeah.
And they should leave behind as they move into manhood. Is
Well,
that right?
totally. Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
it's a really good place to start, because that does feel kind of like a nebulous question. Like, okay,
Right.
so you're a boy, then you become a man. Like, what's the difference? Like,
Sure.
where does the difference
Puberty
happen?
Yeah. I get what you're,
Yeah,
I get what
yeah.
you're, yeah, I get what you're saying.
But like there should be some sort, well, like you were mentioning the initiation rituals and stuff. Like there's these marked things in a lot of cultures that are like, oh, this is a way to show that. But
Right.
it's not just the fact that they did a ritual. It's
Right.
what
That doesn't automatically make them different in their character.
But
in
it
and of
does
itself.
show a sign of maturity growing out of certain things that they're expected to grow out of.
Yeah, it's like a mindset shift and an expectation shift.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Which is important.
I agree. I think it's important to remember that this isn't like some conclusive list. Like, hey, if you can fix all these things in your boy, then he's going to be a man.
Well,
there's more. There's more. There's a lot of things.
Okay.
This I did. I
Yeah.
really liked what you had to say.
hey, thanks.
As usual.
I made it seem like we came up with the list. Now you're making it seem like I came up with the
Well,
list.
through your inspired visits with me, I'm
Right.
sure you got a lot of.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, that guy acts like a boy all the time.
I learned I learned most about boyhood from our times together.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
No, but
Yeah.
it is kind of cool because and I'll read the list in a second. We're
Yeah.
just trying to create this real tense cliffhanger vibe going on.
Oh yeah, dude. They're it's on
I know
the
you
edge of their
guys just
seat. Like,
can't wait.
what's the list?
Oh yeah, dude.
All right.
But no, I think it's cool because as I was reading through this stuff and kind of contemplating it, it's rad because yes, these are things for boys that boys have issues with that they need to come out of, but obviously it applies to grown men as well. Like it's
Yeah.
stuff we're constantly growing in, right?
Yeah.
So like this isn't like, hey, now that we're men, we don't deal with
Yeah.
this stuff, obviously.
Well, it's a super convicting list to read as a man.
A little bit too much sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit overwhelming, honestly. So be prepared.
Yeah, I mean, there's just
Yeah.
things, and I think fathers would agree. They would look at this list and be like, "Yeah, I don't want my son to be that way."
Right.
But then I think most fathers would also look and be like, "I also don't want to be
Yeah,
that way."
I also want to grow in some of these things.
and
for
as
sure.
as
Yeah.
I'm reading it, I'm like, "Yeah,
yeah.
that could be Henry and Freddie, or that could be me." Like,
Sure.
you know.
Well, and that's why, and that points to the fact that like growing into manhood and growing into being a good man and all these things that we're talking about, like it is a lifelong pursuit. Like there was only one perfect man, Jesus Christ, and other than that, like everybody's on the journey. Okay, so yeah, just to be clear, and even when we're pointing to rites of initiation or markers or lines in the sand or whatever, it is just that. It's this idea of a mindset shift, an expectation shift, just a vision shift of, okay, I'm being held to a higher standard now. It doesn't mean you're going to perfectly meet that standard at all times, but it's what we're striving for. And it's tied in with that whole thing of what we were talking about with virtue of, because a lot of these lists are on the negative side when we're reading the boy list that we still keep teasing and we're not going to read to you yet. But
Hang in there.
when we're reading through that list, that's essentially, it's a lot of lack of virtue, right? And then you read kind of the attributes of manliness that would kind of be the opposites, right?
answer to
And they're
that,
all
yeah.
pretty much virtues. It's a virtuous list, and it comes back to that whole root word of vir and man.
Yeah.
Like virtue is essentially growing. If you're growing in virtue, you're growing in manliness.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that women can't have virtue too, and we understand all that. But
Yeah.
but we're talking about men here, so
Yeah.
this is what we're talking about. So yeah, I think that points to that lifelong pursuit of virtue.
Yeah. I think that again, I think this is a really cool list for that, just to be able to, like, as like a, I don't know, barometer or something to like look at and, compare yourself and your boys to.
Yeah.
But I think it really falls under, like you said, the veer thing, but also like the stewardship thing that we talk about a lot, like stewarding yourself. Like, you're not just called to steward others as fathers and husbands and everything else. You're also called to steward your own self and your own actions and the investment that God made in you by giving you life on this planet. Should be stewarded well. And I think this is a pretty handy dandy breakdown for a lot of that.
Cool.
So without further
Glad
ado,
you like it. All right, yeah. Read
I
it,
just
man.
want to say,
Stop.
Stop
you.
I'll try to edit out the grammatical errors here for
Yeah,
you.
thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm just kidding.
I am still trying to look smart, even though we've been told to be less pretentious.
What a drag.
I know, right?
So I like. Okay, so it says, man, this coffee's kicking in quick.
Good.
Boys can be naturally.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Naturally, in a boy, he can find himself lazy, comfort seeking, self-focused, impatient, pleasure seeking, looking for the next good time, envious, dependent on others, easily distracted, baselessly confident, foolish, visionless, short-sighted, undisciplined, disrespectful, too respectful of the wrong people, improperly fearful, thinking without acting, acting without thinking, subject to their emotions, dishonest, easily lied to, indecisive, more dangerous to themselves than to others, overestimating their knowledge, proud, in the arrogant sense of the word,
Yeah.
whiny or dragging others down, and interested in destruction, like too interested in destruction.
Yeah. Like more interested in destruction than construction.
Yeah. There's a lot on that list.
Yeah. There is. It's a long list.
But yeah,
And there's probably some overlap too. Like some of those could be kind of morphed into each other. But hey, I was moving fast, so.
I mean, I feel like, I know we try to keep these things to an hour, but I feel like we could
Yeah,
we could really break this down.
This can be other episodes too, because we can
Yeah.
get into. We could do a podcast on each one of those.
Stay tuned.
Next 400 episodes.
Yeah.
It's the list.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, I think it's interesting because I was trying to kind of just, and again, I'm not I'm not trying to throw my own son completely under the bus here, but I was kind of pulling from things that he's struggled with.
Yeah.
Not the entire list probably, but those are some things. And then I'm just going from, I was once a boy and am still extremely tempted by all those things, most of those things. So
Yeah.
and I veer those directions when I'm not seeking the Lord, seeking virtue, seeking to grow as a man. So so those are just kind of my experience. I mean, hopefully some of that resonates with you guys. I think it probably does, so if you think it doesn't,
Then good for you.
you're lying.
Or you should come on our podcast and
Yeah.
talk
And
to
tell
us
us
about
how to
your
be
success.
for sure. No doubt.
Well, no, because again, you say you're drawing that just like a lot of that is from personal
Sure.
experience, but reading it, I'm like, yeah, I've definitely encountered that in my own sons.
Of course.
And like I've
Yeah.
had to, those are things that we've had to work on and are continuing to.
Sure.
But yeah, like you said, more even closer to home is like I remember.
Yeah.
Not a long time ago.
Yeah.
like where I was like, yep, check, man. I'm like hitting
Yeah.
all the boxes. Like
Yep.
this is me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I think that's just life being a human, and that's why we need the Lord, and that's why we need
Responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility. We need to seek after truth, and we need to seek after our calling as men, so that we can grow out of these things to the greatest degree we can. And I think to the degree that we do align ourselves with Scripture and with truth and pursue those things, I think it just goes better and better for us. And there's so much life like that list. I mean, it's interesting because I even for some reason it came to mind the whole Me Too movement thing, and and thinking about how because that was kind of a big that was kind of, as far as I recall, it was kind of the beginning of the term toxic masculinity, right?
I think that was a huge.
Yeah,
part
that was
of it,
it was around then. So it's this idea of and in that initial point when because we've said our thoughts on toxic masculinity and why we think it's like a toxic term, but at first glance, like you can see where they are coming from. At first, you're going like, hey, this is this is evil, this is sin, this is manly urges that are going awry, that are not subject to, to God or to
Stewardship,
righteousness and being, poorly stewarded. But a lot of it is coming out of just that list, right? It's rejecting responsibility, completely focused on self, not thinking about other people at all. It's just me, what I want. And then as a result, if that's taken to extremes, it ends up with, all sorts of sinful mistreatment of women and all kinds of other things. I mean, it's a root of all kinds of evil. So,
well, and that's the wild thing, dude. Like we were talking earlier about, the ads that you see in stickball games.
yeah.
But like one of the biggest things in my mind that has really done a lot of damage on this front is the dating apps like Tinder and like the hookup apps. Like the entire purpose of it is like it checks so many of these boxes.
It's just like a selfish pleasure.
Comfort
app
seeking,
is what it is. Yeah.
Self-focus, impatient, right?
Yeah.
You're not willing to work for a true love
Yeah.
situation, so you're just
Yeah.
going to take what you can.
Yep.
Pleasure seeking, looking for the next good time. There's so many things in that just helps to disintegrate you at your core.
Yeah.
And that's just one facet of culture and of like, the celebration of immaturity.
Yeah.
That like, but it touches all these things. You're like, yeah, dude, just that one thing. Like just being a guy that's all about the hookup culture is like, it stunts you so badly in so many different ways.
Yeah, and it damages countless other lives in the process.
Exactly.
And it
Yeah.
leads to all sorts of other sin and drama and death and damage.
Yeah.
So I'll read I guess I get to read the man list. It's basically the opposite of the boy list, but this is kind of a picture of virtues we think men should be aspiring to, and they're kind of, as you'll see, the counterpoint to what we just read. But I think so. Yeah, we believe men are called to be industrious, ambitious, hardworking, God-focused, growth-focused, character-seeking, virtue-seeking, truth-seeking, patient, others-focused, looking for opportunities to fill needs and serve, contented, dependable, focused in general, just able to focus on anything.
That's a hard one.
That's hard. Like, which in today's day and age is getting increasingly difficult.
Yeah.
Justly confident for the right reasons, wise, full of vision, farsighted, disciplined, respectful, not fooled by fools, fearing only God, thinking before acting as fast as is appropriate, ruling over their emotions, honest, not easily lied to, decisive, able to protect themselves and others, always learning and knowing they have much more to learn, humble, encouraging, building up others, interested in creating and building as opposed to just destroying. And a caveat there, obviously destroying things is always fun, and that is not the point.
Yeah. Well, what is the point?
The point is that there's a general, I mean, because destroying things, what I'm thinking in the context of boyhood, okay? Like, for example, my son, or I know me, I used to daydream. Okay, I'll just make it personal. I used to daydream every time we went to the grocery store. I used to dream about one day being wealthy enough to buy the grocery store so that I could run around and just break everything,
just knock things over,
just smash stuff. Okay, like and to be fair, that still is an appealing thought. Like it's like that sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
And so, but again, it's like entirely rooted in this idea, and life has provided me with ample opportunities to do demolition, and it's awesome. It's always fun. It's fun to blow stuff up. It's fun to break things. Like everybody knows this. It's fine. It's not like that's inherently bad. I'm just saying that the point of that is that as a boy, that is an inherently, for the most part, it's rare that destroying things is constructive because you have to destroy something to build it. But the point is always to destroy something so you can build something better in its place, right?
Sure.
It's not just destruction for destruction's sake. And I think that it's good to instill in young men and to catch a vision as you're growing in manliness, to have that vision of like, I want to create, I want to build, I want to add to, and again, it's rooted in that self-focus versus others focused thing.
Yeah.
Or it's not just about me and my pleasure of being like, that was fun, I watched it break, the end.
Right.
As opposed to like, no, I'm going to build something so that other people will benefit, and myself, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
But I just think that is a marker. So that's why I included it on the list. But the point is,
I like it.
I like breaking stuff too. That's not the point.
Yeah, but there's a time and a place for it.
Exactly.
And like if you're totally geared toward destruction all the time, that bleeds into other things, like families. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think it's more of the heart's attitude toward it, of like what, and again, the term is focused, right? It's like what are you trying to spend your life doing? Are you are you a destroyer or a builder? And I think being a builder is what we're called to be as men.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Are there anything? So here's the deal. Because it's such a long list and it's a bit overwhelming, is there anything you want to just jump off on? I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Anything you want to talk about specifically? Because I have a couple.
There's a lot of things.
I know.
I think the proud or arrogant versus humble
Yeah.
is, I would argue that's probably one of the most important things
It's like
on the list.
yeah, it's like super foundational to all the others. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
dude, like pride is such a destroyer. Like,
yeah,
pride, like, and arrogance, and not like proud of like your accomplishments, not that kind of proud.
No,
like,
not yeah.
like proud of yourself as if you are the reason that things are awesome, or
Yeah.
you're, like all glory, all good things in our life come from above.
Yeah.
And to take credit for any of that and to be arrogant about it, any of the abilities or attributes that you have, anything that you've done that's awesome, it's like, yeah, you can be proud that you accomplished it, or that you've made great strides in whatever sport or whatever.
Sure.
But to be arrogant and think that it's all you and not a God-given thing that he expects you to steward well, like,
Yeah.
that, I think, man, like, arrogance in a young man that's not tempered just creates just some major life problems later on. Like,
Yeah.
that's where you get narcissism and everything else. Like,
Yeah.
it grows and grows until it kills.
Sure, and it's that rooted in that, like, who is life about, right? And if you make life about you, you're essentially making yourself your own God, right? Like you're putting yourself in a place where God should be in your life, right?
Yeah.
You're and that's why it's like at its heart, it's ultimately satanic, because you're basically emulating Satan and saying, I will be like the Most High, right? You're making yourself the Most High in your life, and everything is subservient to that, and what you're willing to do to please yourself as your own master is inherently sinful, and then it leads to all sorts of other sin.
Yeah.
Right. It just leads to all sorts of damage. So yeah, no, that's like, and that's a big root of, I think, a lot of those. So yeah, you're right.
Like confidence,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like if you're confident in yourself, just trust your heart and all that stuff.
Yeah. Listen to your heart.
Yeah. Go watch Disney movies and learn how to idolize yourself as the ultimate decision maker.
Yeah.
Then yeah, that doesn't just go away with age. Like,
Yeah.
it embeds itself, and you become more and more just isolated from reality.
Yeah. And you have to get more and more delusional in order to support that worldview, because it's not going to go well, and you're going to have to make up stories to keep believing that.
Yeah.
Like, so it doesn't lead to sanity. Yeah. So one that I was that for some reason, there's this quote that I learned a long time ago that just really stuck with me on this topic of, like, the difference between boys and men. And it's on the list. It kind of shows up a couple places, but one is that's why I threw on there, looking for the next good time. And what I mean by that is, because I mean, good times are good times. There's nothing wrong with good times. We all like having fun and doing cool stuff. But it's interesting because, so the quote is, without further ado, the quote is, a boy takes joy in what he is doing, and a man takes joy in who he is being. And there's a lot in Stoic philosophy and other places about the most three important words in life are be, do, and have. But and that's this whole mindset that has there's a lot of wisdom, I think, there. But it's interesting because that difference between that joy in who you're being as opposed to what you're doing, it's that constantly seeking for this external pleasure as opposed to being able to take joy in just in the character you're growing. But more importantly, it's interesting because I think, especially from a truthful and from a Christian and a biblical worldview, like, taking joy in who you're being is ultimately surrendered to Christ, right? Like, it's ultimately this, you're taking it leads to, if you're finding it from the right place, it leads to joy in the Lord, and it leads to contentment, and it leads to just all sorts of really good fruit. And if you're focused on that piece, you're gonna get your dopamine hits from pursuing virtue, right? You're gonna get your dopamine hits from pursuing service to others, from pursuing growth in healthy ways, as opposed to getting your dopamine hits from just like, what's the next fun thing I'm going to do? What's the next fun thing I'm going to do? And it's interesting because I think that I think that's a really poignant quote, because I think you see that in boys a lot, where, and it's natural. It's not like it's, but it's a good thing to shed a light on, I think.
Totally.
And because if you think you're going to be satisfied finding your pleasure in activities or consumption of anything, then you will be bitterly disappointed, and ultimately it will rob you of your joy.
Totally.
But if you're seeking who God called you to be and taking joy in that, like that's what I see in these older men that we respect and admire. Like that's where they get their joy, is being who they're being.
Yeah. And to add to that, like, it's funny because like God's design, it isn't either have all these dopamine things and live a life of sin and decadence,
Right.
or just be this stoically
Sure.
guy, just
Yeah.
a good dude that's just always trying to be the good guy.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's like it's just a picture of delayed gratification,
Right.
and proper gratification, like
Yeah.
sex, right? Like if your entire focus is what girl you're going to hook up with this weekend on Tinder, that comes with so many problems. You could talk about that for hours. Like
Sure.
there's so much destruction that comes from hookup culture and mindset.
Yeah.
If you live virtuously and you pursue like doing the right thing, and God provides you a wife, you're going to find the ultimate answer to what you were looking for in these random girls.
That's right.
Like the answer is in your wife, and like sex is amazing in the context of marriage, and like
Yeah.
and it's a really awesome dopamine hit, like
Yeah.
blessing.
Yeah, it works.
But that's not the end goal. The end goal is who you are and
Right.
and loving your wife properly and all this
Yeah.
stuff. Like there's so much more that goes into it. It's so much more complex. It's not just this crappy bag of Cheetos. It's a full on steak dinner. Like
Yeah.
it's a completely different, healthy way to live.
Yeah.
And you still get those, like you said, like the dopamine hits are great. Like God's
Yeah.
created us with these desires, and He's created us with brains that function that way. So
Yeah.
when we do find ourselves walking in truth and seeking God and living virtuously, He provides for those desires that we have. Like it's kind of awesome. Like
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. And that's it. It's not, I'm not, and you know I'm not, but I'm not preaching some like aesthetic or like pleasure shunning lifestyle in the
Totally,
sense of
yeah.
like, oh, like, yeah, any pleasure is inherently sinful. Or it's not about that. It's about what your focus is on, why you're doing what you're doing matters, where your heart's at, what you're, again, it's like who you're being, because the guy you're being can have a good time.
Totally.
That's not the point. The point is that ultimately, you know, you're going to have good times will come and bad times will come, but ultimately who you're being in Christ and who you're growing into, like that is a joy that is way harder to shake. Like way harder to shake, and the other pursuit, and that's what I'm calling out is the pursuit.
yeah.
Right.
Well, I think it's outward focused living versus inward focused living.
Okay.
If you're just looking for the gratification in whatever it is you're pursuing as the end result of your happiness, like then you're never going to find it, right?
Yeah.
And ironically, when you flip that and you're not, not living ascetically like a monk,
Yeah.
but you're just pursuing what God has called you to pursue and stewarding what He's called you to steward, you just find these blessings along the way, and it's awesome. Like
Yeah.
It's almost like it's like designed that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. No, that's it. No, I just think that that's like a big marker of a difference between a boy and a man is that focus of pursuing virtue as opposed to just pursuing pleasure for its own sake. And I think it's also important to note here that we live in a world these days that, and it's always been this way, but they're just getting better at it because technology is getting really good. But we live in a world that's designed to hijack that natural comfort / pleasure seeking part of us. And so I'm not trying to demonize the comfort or pleasure seeking part of us in the sense that like,
No.
yeah, we were designed to need comfort, and pleasure is a part of life and it's good. And it's something that God created. However, like just being super aware of like people are, it's, you know, I call it a downside of, it's not a downside of capitalism because it's true in every system, but it's just the idea that like people are incentivized to manipulate that desire. Right. So, So like, I mean, I'm just thinking of like, you know, everything from like video games to gambling apps to like porn to like just everything that you can go do to instantly know you're going to have a good time. Alcohol, drugs, like it just, there's so many things that can make you feel really good. Right. And it temporarily, and then leave you just destitute. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's just important to know, I think, as young men and as fathers that are guiding young men through the current world that we live in, to realize that we are called to find our comfort in the Lord. We are called to find our joy in the Lord. We're called to find pleasure at his hand, at his right hand are pleasures forevermore. And not to demonize pleasure, but to find it from the right place. Because if you're not finding it from the right place, it will ultimately destroy you. Like, it leads to death.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
First chapter of James is all about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that goes really well with your point of fearing God only.
Yeah.
Like, if you fear God and not fear man and not worry about the opinions of man and what people think about you,
Yeah.
and you just pursue what you know God is calling you in, like he just fills and satisfies you in such a way that the world could never touch. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a cheap facsimile of what God
Yeah.
truly has, right?
Yeah.
Because he designed the world with, like, I mean, again, like, he designed us with these desires and impulses and,
Sure.
and like properly tempered. Some of it's just straight sin you just need to get rid of, right? But properly tempered, a lot of the way we're designed is like God has the plan for that, like, and it's great.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. No, and and that's a great point of the cheap facsimile, because that's exactly what it is. It's a lie, is what it is. Because the truth is, you are designed to actually have those things satisfied in a way that brings life. And the lie is, no, actually over here, look over
Right.
here, look over here. This is what you're looking for. And a lot of times it's cheaper and quicker and faster, and it's a big high or a big hit or whatever. But and so it's just realizing, like, you are being lied to by that. Like, that is lying to you. And you need to seek truth, and you need to seek satisfaction and pleasure in actual true pleasure, and not in crappy fake pleasure. How's that?
Amen.
How's that?
That was pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. That what I said was good. No, I agree. I liked what you said too. So what's the next thing we're going to talk about?
I don't know, man.
All right. Oh, I was going to say something more too about this whole idea of, like, boys struggling with being disrespectful, and then at the same time too respectful of the wrong people. And I think that is an increasing risk and problem. I'm going to keep harping on modern technology, but especially with, like, social media and the whole influencer culture, and even just celebrities in general forever. Just that idea of boys are prone, I think it's a mark of immaturity to be prone to giving too much credence to the wrong people, and people that are essentially lying to you or leading you astray. And I think especially this is one of my big reasons why I'm just, like, super anti social media. And specifically, like, TikTok, Instagram, like any short form entertainment. This is going to be a rabbit trail. I'm going to rant, but the point is that there's lots of risks that come with it. There's lots of just degradation that comes with it. But one of those things is this propensity for people to capture your attention and capture your thoughts and feed you thoughts that are just simply not true. And they're just some random person online, man. Like, they're just some lost soul trying to make money doing their thing. And these guys are just following them because, I don't know, they're talking. So you might, like,
Well, and what's weird is it builds, right? The algorithm, like, all of a sudden now you're getting that input from 50 different sources.
Right. It's like, oh, you
and
like
they're
that
all
opinion.
saying generally the same thing. And so you feel affirmed in your own decisions to follow and believe that because everyone else believes that.
Right.
Which is how you get hive mind kind of stuff going on.
Yeah. And it's wild. And it's a huge problem. And so it's just something to, I think, be cautious of as fathers, and as young men, to be just really mindful of who you're listening to. Yeah. Like, only listen to us ever.
Wow.
No, I'm
There's
kidding.
some other really good podcasts too that say the same stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just seek the Lord and seek Scripture and seek wisdom on who you're listening to, and be careful who you're giving who you're giving time, right? Like, careful of who you're letting influence your thoughts.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to, and everybody's just out there yapping, and it's just really important to have discernment and to grow in that wisdom. At the same time, a lot of times it's almost like a relational version of what we were just talking about, of, like, it's like this cheap facsimile of a relationship, right? With these influencers, where it's like, you feel like you know them, you feel like you're like, I spent more time listening to that dude's YouTube videos than I did hanging out with my friend in real life, right? Right. And it's kind of this, and that happens at an increasing rate now. And so it's just being really aware of like, there's that whole old saying of, like, show me the 5 people you spend the most time around and I'll show you who you'll be in 5 years. That idea. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. And it's interesting because it's like now we're spending time with these people we don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, and so just as fathers, like I would just throw out there a huge caution of like, if you're like, I'll just say like, don't let your kids have social media, especially young boys. Like,
I agree
like
with
there is
that,
no
yeah.
reason for it that is even close to positive enough to outweigh the dangers and the death that it causes. And if you're a young man and you are on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, like I would just challenge you to just freaking delete it, dude.
Yeah.
Like it is not serving you. And most of what you're saying to like justify doing it, listen to yourself say it, because it's probably a really lame excuse.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah. So anyway, down with Instagram.
No, dude, absolutely. Down with it all, man. Down with podcasts.
Hey, well, slow down.
Nah, just kidding.
Slow down. Down with down statements. Chill out. Dang it. Yeah. So anyway, that's that one.
You know, I was thinking, looking at this list, the boy list. I think one of the things, it can be hard as fathers, you know, if you don't have vision for like, okay, I want my son to grow into a man and to be virtuous and all this stuff. If you don't have vision for it and you're not quite sure how to raise your son or like what to, like, it could be tempting to take a list like this one and be like, oh, you're being lazy. That's bad. You're grounded. Or you know what I mean? Like,
Okay, yeah.
Like you were disrespectful to your mom. That's bad. You're grounded. Obviously, discipline needs to happen, and that's how we train them. But the point is, it's not just you did this thing, and that's one thing you see in I won't call it any circles, but you can see this in certain groups where it's like this hyper focus on like piety.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you did a bad thing, and so you're in trouble, and that's the end of it. And it's like, well, I'm trying to train my boys right. I he did this thing wrong, so I got him in trouble for it. And it's like, that's good to temper them and to obviously to discipline them and not let them get away with stuff. But the end goal is, hey, what's the inverse of that?
Yeah.
So like you're being lazy, yeah, you're grounded, but let's talk about how you can. Well, whatever. That's a weird example. You're
being lazy. You're grounded. Like you're sitting around doing nothing. Your punishment is
do
you gotta
nothing.
sit there and do nothing.
You scumbag.
It's like the penalty for loitering is putting someone in jail.
Yeah, exactly. But no, like dishonesty, right?
Yeah.
Like that. Obviously, in my household, that's like one of the big ticket items. It's like, nope, we're addressing that.
Yeah.
But like, there's the other side of it. It's not just, hey, don't be dishonest because it's bad to be dishonest. It's like, don't be dishonest because you're not going to be the man you want to be if you continue to walk in this path. And like how and what it basically just offering a solution outside of just discipline. Like,
sure, yeah, 100%. Well, and I love what you're saying, because it's getting to the issue of it's tempting, especially as fathers who have limited time and limited focus, and you're trying to provide for your family, you're trying to do all this stuff, and it's tempting to want to just think it's a simple solution of, I'm just going to correct this behavior real quick and then it'll be fine. And while we do need to correct behaviors and stuff, it's that I think kind of what you're getting at is you want to have your son's heart and you want to be leading him toward the good, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to be leading him in virtue. And this is the hard part, and this is the convicting part for me, is you want to be modeling virtue, right? Like you want him to spend time with you and for that to actually be a good influence, which is, a call to arms for us to step up our game.
Totally.
And it's one of those things where more is caught than taught, and they're going to pick up a lot just from observing how you operate in the world. And so no matter what you say or what you discipline them on, a lot of how they're going to behave is going to be based off of what they see you doing and who they see you being. And then on top of that, it's going to be largely dependent on whether or not they take that as a positive or negative will have everything to do with your relationship with them, right? Like if you have a son who hates his father, he's going to be highly likely to want to do the opposite of what he sees his father doing, right? And so it's that idea of like, you want to have a close relationship with your son. You want to be close to him. You want to have him care about how you're acting and what you're saying, And so that's one of the reasons why with what we're doing with Taskbook Alpha and other things, like we want to encourage fathers to just spend time with their sons, like get to know them. Let him get to know you. Just even riding in silence in the car, just being together is time well spent. And obviously if you're having important conversations, that's even better, but like just having them around is a big key to that.
Well, again, the modeling factor.
Yeah.
Right? You're showing them what you think a man should be like.
Yeah.
And so bringing them around that as much as possible is super healthy.
Yeah, and bring him around other men too,
Yeah.
like that, like bringing him up. You know, not only are you paying attention to the 5 people you're spending the most time with, or whatever, right? But even just thinking about your son being like, I have these guys that I would love for him to be spending time around, you know, and actively seek out those relationships and make those connections for him.
Yeah.
Because that's invaluable. Because it's not just all about you.
Yeah.
It's you know, there's lots of other good men to learn from, and so anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The checklist thing, though, I was just thinking about it because that is a popular, easy way out in a lot of ways. Like, to look at it like a checklist of like behaviors and just correct behavior, right? Obviously. And that works on like toddlers, right? Like if a toddler's sneaking candy, like you can't, it's hard to communicate the importance of honesty and not being a thief.
Like the virtues of not candy stealing sermon doesn't go over
like
well.
you could talk, and they're just like drooling, staring at you. It's like,
like you're such a toddler.
But like there is a time and a place for that kind of like checklist parenting where you just have to correct things.
And I think it's young.
But as soon as they're able to comprehend, like, you kind of have to gear it toward like, hey, this is why. Like, at least I think.
100%. One of the things we talked about, or that came up on the list, is like a lack of vision, and I think that's a huge role a father can fill in their son's life, is being that initial source of a positive vision for who they're to be and how they're to act. And so it's like having that not just discipline but also vision casting of, hey, this is why I'm not correcting you because I'm some guy that just wants to correct you on everything. I'm correcting you because it matters, and here's why, right? And being able to and you can't always do that. Obviously, sometimes you just need to correct, but taking those opportunities as you can to be able to actually cast that vision of, hey, you realize how honesty is going to benefit your life, like you know, like this is because I mean, we just read this list, and any grown man or older boy that is listening to that list is like probably easily resonating with, all those things are negatives, and all those things are positives. But especially as they're young, like actually taking the time to dive into it and be like, hey, like think through what the implications are of acting this negative way, and think through the implications of what it might look like if you act this positive way, you know?
Yeah.
Like spell it out for them.
Yeah, totally. Well, and when you create a mindset of just, hey, that's bad, don't do it, end of story. Like, I know I was a very stubborn kid and still am, but like, man, but you know, like there were certain things I was like, okay, negative consequence. I can eat that. Like this is worth it.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Like,
so you just keep running against the same wall and smacking your head on it because it sucks getting disciplined, but you at least get the thing that you're wanting, you know? And so like I think vision is probably the right word for that. It's like, no, like, there's something beyond, you know, the walls of your brain. Like you gotta get outside of yourself and have some big picture thought.
Totally. Yeah, because that results in grown men just being like, I'll just pay for the speeding ticket.
Who would do that?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Freedom tax.
I don't know anybody like that. So no, that's a really good point, because and that's kind of the vision we're hoping to kind of pitch here, and what we want to be pursuing with our sons is it's very relational. You know. Yeah. That's kind of the whole thing. Is it's a father-son relationship. Mm-hmm. Am I right?
You're right, dude.
Thanks, man. All right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is another one. Sorry,
Let's say it on 3.
Baselessly confident.
Baselessly confident.
I forgot the 3.
I did 3, and
sorry, man.
Okay.
I caught that you wanted to say it at the same time. I forgot about the 3 thing.
I was gonna say too respectful of the wrong people, but go ahead with baselessly confident.
Oh, we just did that one. Okay, all right, it's all right. Okay.
Did we?
Yeah. Well, whatever. I touched on it. That was the whole Instagram. The Instagram thing.
Well, okay. Well, maybe for the viewers. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I'm feeling a little baselessly confident right now.
Nice. Okay. So baselessly confident. Here's the thing, because I think we all want to raise confident sons, right? Mm-hmm. But I think we all know, like, the guy that is just that's so annoyingly overconfident, or again, I think baselessly confident is the right term, and that it's just like, why do you think you're going to be good at that? Like the amount of people, like I've, you know, speaking of watching YouTube videos too much, I was watching this YouTube video of this guy going around this like park in New York or whatever, just asking people if they thought they'd win in a fight, like if they knew how to fight, be like, do you know how to fight? And, and the amount of guys that were like, yeah, at first, they'd be like, okay, cool. Like, have you trained? Like what, and it's just kind of like, no, dude, I just like I don't know. I'm watch a lot of movies. Either like I'm a pretty big guy, or like I just have that like X factor, like I have that like ferocity, like you don't want to see me when I'm angry kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's just funny because it's like the amount, and it's interesting because the higher level of training that they had, the more they were like realistic about their odds. Be like they'd be like, maybe it depends on who it is. Like I don't know, and like it turns out the guy's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's still like, I don't know, man. Like who am I fighting and what's the context and like like what are we doing here? And so it's just funny because I think that a lot of times experiences tend to bring humility, and and knowledge actually I think can puff up, but it can also bring some humility. Like the more you say you want to get good at anything like music or chess or jiu-jitsu or whatever, like the more you learn about it, the more you're humbled by how deep the art goes, right? Like you have a greater appreciation for music than I do because you've studied music and learned music and gone quite far down that road. And because of that, you know what you don't know better than I do. Does that make sense? Like to me, it's kind of like a lot of it sounds the same, and I can't even tell. Like I always joke around about like I don't know if it's a good song or not. I just know I like it, right? Because I don't know anything about it. Whereas the more you know about it, the more it gives you a realistic confidence, but it also comes with a certain degree of humility. Anyway, I don't know if I'm making any sense.
No, it totally makes sense, man. It's the whole like earn your ego concept.
Yeah.
Like, once you really understand how inept you are, compared to the masters of our day, say, the more you realize like I shouldn't have an ego about this, like and,
right.
Which is the opposite. It's so good because when you allow that baseless confidence in your sons, or model it to them, like you're setting them up for failure and humiliation. Like if you're baselessly confident and you chirp at the wrong guy, like good luck, dude. Like and you see those videos all the time where it's like some guy that's like, oh yeah, I can fight. And there was one, I don't remember the name of the fighter, but there was some UFC fighter at a bar, and this like middle-aged dude like stepped up to him to fight, and he just did not end well for him. And it was clear that the guy had never been in a fight before, and he just got owned. And it's like, dude, like now 30 million people have seen you acting the fool with your baseless confidence.
Yeah, no, that's it. And it's funny. This reminds me of one of my favorite scenes in any movie ever, actually. And that is in the original Magnificent Seven. Oh. Okay, so with Yul Brynner, the baldest man who ever lived. That guy is so bald. He's like aggressively bald.
He's aggressively bald. There's a few things about him that were interesting.
Yeah, don't get we're not getting into Yul Brynner. Okay, the point is that the original Magnificent Seven, there's a scene where there's the young gunslinger guy that is this hotshot that thinks he's really fast, that is basically wanting to be on their cool team of extraordinary gentlemen that are going to go defend this town. Yeah, and Yul, I don't know, whatever. I never say just his first name. It sounds weird.
Mr. Brenner.
Yeah. Monsieur Brenner is basically saying, no, like you're too young, you're too inexperienced. Like I'm not going to be responsible for leading you to your death. Like you're just going to get killed. I'm not going to have that on my conscience. So anyway, basically the scene is that Yul is at a bar, and as one does in the West, and
he's at a bar.
You be at a bar when
you're
in the West.
When you're in the West.
You know how it is when you're in the West and you're at a bar.
So
then the young man comes in and basically challenges. The young man's all drunk, and he's like challenging Yul to. He basically is going to prove how good he is by challenging Yul to a draw down or whatever. What do they call it?
A duel?
A shootout?
High noon.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna high noon him. Yeah. So he basically the point of this. I'm gonna butcher the scene, but you get the idea.
You're doing great so far.
Thanks, man. Can you picture it? Can you picture the bar and everything?
I'm in the saloon. It smells like smoke.
It's not super complicated. You get it. So Yul it basically just declines the fight in a way that is very manly and good and awesome, and in so doing humbles the boy in a very effective way. But it's just a really powerful scene of somebody who's highly competent and highly confident using that to essentially protect someone from himself. And that's one of the reasons why I put on the list more dangerous to themselves than others. It's like you see Yul, and he's way more dangerous to others than he is to himself as a man. And then you see this boy who is just a total danger to himself and others, but he's more dangerous to himself than others. So
now I can't, it's been 30 years since I've seen that.
Wow. How old are you? Anyway, keep going.
Very old.
All right.
How does it end up for the boy in that movie?
It ends up that's a great question. I totally remember. I do. No, it ends up that he does end up convincing, he comes anyway against Yul's wishes and ends up getting killed.
Oh, well, see, there you go.
So there you
Cautionary tale.
Exactly. That's the point.
See, an example that
Yeah.
came into my mind, which is really weird, was
Yeah.
a Western
Okay.
in similar fashion. And it's when Johnny Ringo does his little fancy gun twirling
In Tombstone.
for Val Kilmer in Tombstone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Doc Holliday just looks at him and then he spins his cup and just makes a complete fool out of him because he's
Yeah.
like, that's where, again, because Johnny Ringo's like, yeah, I'm a pretty good gunslinger. I got
Yeah.
all these, I can do this like fancy twirling thing, which is completely useless in a
Right.
fight.
He's trying to intimidate him. Yeah.
And then Val Kilmer's like, dude, like, I'm going to do the same thing with a cup and make you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to kill you.
Yeah. I don't care.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's good because I just think those are good pictures of that, baseless confidence versus confidence that's gained through competence and through actual life experience. And usually it's an interesting thing that with competence and experience comes a humility that tempers your confidence in a very appropriate way.
Yeah.
How's that for words?
I liked consuming them.
Yeah. So
Well, it's the whole idea of just not like if you're what was it Einstein that said if you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough.
Yeah, like my story that I just told,
Yes.
for example.
It's like that though. It's like
Yeah.
well, I mean, you see it in law enforcement all the time. The
Yeah.
rookie cops are always the ones with the biggest mouths. That are always the ones that are like, okay, dude, like but you shouldn't talk like that because you will be in a fight with that guy. Like,
Yeah.
and I've seen it happen time and again.
Yeah.
Where you could just let it ride, or you can de-escalate the situation verbally without having to showboat how
Yeah.
strong you are with your badge. But
Sure.
you see it all the time in these young cops because they haven't ever been in a fight, and now they're on the streets and they have a badge and they're like, okay, I got some authority behind it. But instead of being like, let's use that properly,
Yeah.
they're like, well, I don't know what else to do, so I'm just going to be really scary to these guys,
Right.
and hopefully they'll obey me because I'm scary and I have a badge. And 9 times out of 10, they're not scary. They
Right.
do have a badge, but they're not scary. And it goes well because there's always 5 of us and one of them kind
Yeah.
of thing. But
Yeah,
but
that's
still, like people get humbled quick.
Well, and it goes well in the sense that like they're hopefully ultimately safe, but it could go badly. And on top of that, like you're getting in unnecessary altercations. It's not as good for the reputation of the police department. It's not as good for the person who's getting their butt kicked when they could have just been talked down.
Exactly.
Like it's like
Yeah.
you're causing damage as
Yeah.
opposed to just being wise and humble and dealing with it in a way that it's a win for everybody.
Well, and the term they use is contempt of cop, right? And you see it
Interesting.
almost exclusively. You see it in some of the older guys, but like almost exclusively in the young generation of cops, where someone says something disrespectful to them or whatever, and it's like they're just
Yeah.
instantly at a 10.
Yeah.
I can't believe you would say that to me. I am in charge and I am, blah, blah, blah. And they just
Yeah.
lose their minds. And it's like, dude, have some confidence. Let the guy vent.
Yeah.
We'll get him into cuffs easily and we'll just take him to jail for the night. Like, we don't have to make this a giant thing.
Yes.
But it is, with experience and with experience comes wisdom, I guess.
Yeah, experience and competence add a lot. And so I guess that's what I'm getting at is for example, like you were talking about not just going down the list and like just disciplining off the list, but like actually cultivating these things in our sons. I think on that one, there's a lot fathers can do as far as cultivating and like creating experiences for your son, right? Like getting him into classes that teach him things, having him go work jobs that are hard and weird and different and whatever, but kind of curating a journey of experiences that develop competence at a high rate. Like that is a huge way you can serve your son. And I think that if we go with the typical, American model that more and more people are getting disillusioned with of like high school than college than career.
Right.
And we're realizing that college is failed as that experience, right? Like it is not, but again, I'm making huge generalities here, but for the lion's share of people, I think that and young men specifically, it has not been a service to them as far as giving them the experience and the competencies that they need to actually flourish in the world. And so as a father, whether you go to college, have your son go to college or not, or whatever, regardless, being able to, as you're spending time with him as a young man, when you still have him in your home and even possibly beyond, encouraging him to do these different things and have these different life experiences and build competencies in different areas, goes a long, long way to curbing that baseless confidence.
Yeah, totally.
Because you're replacing it with actual competence and actual confidence, and then also some humility, a dash of humility in there too. Because they're going to realize they're not all that because they've actually tried stuff.
Well, that's the nice thing, right? It goes
Yeah.
hand in hand. Like the more you understand your own shortcomings, the humbler you get. Like,
Sure.
That's why a great guy like Paul the Apostle would say, "Wretched man that I am," like
Right.
because he understands his limitations and he
Yeah.
understands his need for a savior and his need for grace, and
Yeah.
and that he's not the pinnacle of holiness. Like
Indeed.
he was very well aware of that fact.
Yeah. No, that's good. Something you said reminded me of something else, and now I forgot it, but don't worry about it.
I got time.
It's fine, dude. Don't even worry about it. Yeah. So, what do we got?
I don't know, man.
I think we said a lot of things.
We did, yeah. There's a lot of things on here, though.
There are. Yeah,
We're kind of just cherry picking our favorites.
we are. That's kind of the point. That's what we're
Whiny,
doing.
dragging others down.
Yeah.
I really like that one compared against encouraging and building others up. We
Yeah.
talked about that on Lightning and Whining, that
Yeah.
episode, a couple episodes back. I think it goes hand in hand with the confidence thing and all this. Like,
Yeah.
if the rubber meets the road and it's more than you can handle and you've never been trained to handle things that are beyond you, then you will whine and you'll complain and you will drag the team down.
Yeah.
But if you've been equipped with that and you're the one guy that's like, okay, I've experienced hardship, I know what it's like to fail, and I know how hard things can be, it's a lot easier to be the encourager on the team and to build others up. And that goes really deep into like family raising and
Yeah.
and just being a man in general. Like it's I really like that one.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think it's interesting because I think that one is also tied in with, what was it? Oh, dang it, I had it.
Whiny,
No.
encouraging, learning.
Oh yeah, I got it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
See, we just did that.
yeah, nice job, man. Good job. Yeah. So what I was gonna say is the others focus versus self focus thing too. When you're whining, what you're doing is you're completely focused on yourself and your pain, right? Like that's
Yeah.
where that's coming from. Is like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm not enjoying this. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
something about that for nobody's benefit, including not for my own benefit. It doesn't do
Yeah,
any good
yeah.
to anybody, right? As opposed to that others focus thing. As soon as it's crazy, like so we did the 24-hour hike at Alert, right? So it's this program that I did when I was a teenager, and it was basically, there's a lot to it. I won't rabbit trail, but what it culminates in a challenge that is a 24-hour hike, and you cover, I think it's like 54 miles. You're wearing like at least 45-pound pack plus for 54 miles straight through. You start at 7 in the morning, go through to 7 in the morning because that's 24 hours.
That sounds hard.
It is hard. It's really hard. And but it's interesting because when I went back to do leadership for that, and you do it again. And it's so fascinating how if you got guys that are dying inside, that are just collapsing mentally, the best thing that we've found that you could possibly do is to get them in a position where they're responsible for someone else and focused on their needs. So as soon as you make them focus on you pull their focus away from themselves and you put it on someone else and the team, it's like they find a whole nother gear. It's like a different plane of existence mentally. And so it's just such a fascinating gift to them.
Yeah.
And to the other people, because as soon as you challenge them, like, hey, like I would go to one of the guys that was like clearly doing one of the worst and be like, hey, here's the thing. So-and-so is really struggling back there. Like, I want you to go hike next to him and cheer him up. Okay, like tell him jokes, distract him, whatever. Like just make him get out of himself because he's really struggling, right? But you don't tell him he's actually the target.
Yeah.
But the idea is every time they'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, all right,
Yeah.
I'm on it. And then they'll go back there and be like, hey, distracting him with conversation, joking around with them, whatever. And all of a sudden, the whole thing just goes way up, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody's morale increases. So that's just such a critical piece of whining, is if you can get that focus on the group and on the other people around and encouraging them and uplifting them, it's a gift to yourself too.
Totally.
It's a big deal.
Totally, dude. I think that could be added. I mean, I don't know if the word irresponsible is the right word, but basically lack of responsibility versus responsibility. Those are two defining factors between boy and man as well.
Yeah.
And when you train them at an early age to have responsibilities for others, it's crazy the difference you'll see. Like even with Henry, right? He's the oldest of now 7. So he's got a lot of responsibilities, and it's awesome to see because generally he's not whining about being hungry. He's feeding the toddlers.
Yeah.
He's like cooking that for them.
Dude, I actually saw that big time. We watched your kids the other night, and
Thank you.
And there were, you're welcome.
Forgot.
It was great. No, but I'll just testify to the fact that like Amelia and Henry were both like, Jocelyn and I were commenting on it all night, how they take such good care of the younger ones for us. It like made it so easy.
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
they were just super attentive to their needs and like focused on. And you see that it's like what a gift to them and to the
Yeah.
younger ones,
Yeah.
and to us, like the people that are watching them. And I'm assuming
Makes
you
it
guys,
easier, yeah.
yeah. It's like, man, this is just a win for everyone. Like
Yeah.
everyone's happier, and they're just owning it, and they were just it was great. So
That's awesome.
Kudos.
Well, thanks
Yeah.
thanks for that feedback.
Shout out.
That's what I think responsibility is the key thing there. Though.
Yeah.
Like if you give, like you said, like
Yeah.
your examples of these hikes and stuff, is like if you give someone a responsibility outside of themselves,
yeah.
like I must decrease that he may increase.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you are decreasing your ego and looking outward, if you're properly rooted in Christ, you're trying to increase him in your life, and you're
Yeah.
trying to increase him in others' lives. And so it's kind of cool because as you decrease and as you shrink, not to the point of like sniveling, not like that, not
Yeah.
like humiliation and being like
Yeah.
unconfident, but if you just take your focus off yourself and put it on someone else in
Yeah.
whatever capacity, you just dude, the growth and the fruit from that is amazing.
Yeah, it's one, and that's it. It's such an interesting thing because it seems counterintuitive that there's so much freedom for yourself that comes from that. Like there's so much benefit to you that
Yeah.
comes out of that. So it's so selfishness is like it hurts other people, and it makes you less of a value add to other people, but it hurts you so much more than it hurts anyone else.
Yeah.
Like it is such a gift to yourself to be selfless. Like
It's
to grow
ironically
yourself.
selfish.
Well, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It's interesting, and it's funny. Jordan Peterson actually talks about this all the time. but it is an incredible truth that if you want to struggle less, focus on serving other people.
Yeah,
like
that's
literally.
true, dude.
Like if you start to serve other people and you start to look outward and you start to actually care and you invest in those around you and in any way you can find to help, like your own burden becomes lighter, which is crazy because it seems like you're adding their burden onto yours.
Right.
But that's not actually how it works. You
Yeah.
actually your burden gets lighter as you lift others up. That sounds like a postcard or something. What is that?
I'd put it on like with a sunset.
Yeah.
And like a bird.
Your burden gets
Carrying another
easier
bird.
as you a bird carrying it. That would be like he's like gonna eat it.
Like a hawk with a seagull.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No, it's true though. I think
Yeah.
the reason for that is because you realize that your problems are pretty freaking small, really.
Yeah.
I think when you're so self-focused, every little thing becomes crippling.
Yep.
And when you
That's true.
turn to others to serve them, you're like, oh, okay, like I'm not really
Yeah.
the king. I'm not the center of the universe. And that's why marriage and fatherhood is so great
Yeah.
for many, many reasons. But that's one of them is where I'm like, okay, no, I have to
Yeah.
pour myself into these people. Like that is my job.
Yeah.
Like I can't just like clock off. Like that is my identity now. And it's super cool because the more I invest in the family, the more I realize like, oh, dude, my own little stupid
Yeah.
self, it's insignificant.
Yeah.
Like the burden is make sure my family's okay. The
Yeah.
burden isn't make sure that I'm okay. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's just, and again,
I'm here to make sure you're okay.
caveat,
I'm just kidding.
we always say that, I think we try to
Yeah.
cover this a lot. I know that neither of us think we have marriage and fatherhood figured out.
Yeah, you don't.
I'm just I'm just saying like the extent that we follow these principles, we see the fruit and it's awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
And it's not our design or we figured something cool out about the world.
it's
It's,
not-
just that the
it's-
Bible says it, and
yeah.
if you do it, it works. Like
Well, it's not our truth; it's the truth.
The truth,
Like,
yeah.
It's like we're learning. It's like-
insofar as you align yourself with truth, you find benefit from it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So practical application, like if you are struggling with something or you're going through something or whatever, or you're just down and depressed, one really good way out of it is to look around you and see if there's somebody that you can serve.
Yeah.
How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Put that on a pillow.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's like it's a real thing that always works.
Sorry, the pillow thing threw me.
Like a knit it
Like
on a
a-
pillow.
What do they call that?
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Point and stitch.
Needlepoint.
Needle.
Pointillism? Not pointillism.
Needle.
That's cool.
Needlepoint.
Needlepoint.
Good point.
Right on, man.
Yeah. So, well, cool. Any others? Or we about wrapped on this one? I think obviously we could probably do a whole podcast on each one of these, and we probably will. But any other thoughts before we adjourn?
Yeah.
Are you like scrolling Instagram? What are
No,
you doing?
I do have my phone. Listen, okay, he's gonna feel real bad when I say this. My wife just texted to say that she's had quite a few more contractions this evening, so I should probably head out
Oh,
so that she can head out.
she can wait, dude. She's fine.
My wife is due any day with a baby. That's what that's about.
Maybe 2 day with a baby.
Maybe today.
Yeah, could be.
So-
yeah. Well, let's wrap that up. That's a good reason. That's a good reason to stop.
Yeah. Fatherhood's important.
Yeah, it is.
Being there for your wife. You know, I mean, I'd rather just hang out here and smoke cigars, but I guess I'll go to the hospital with my wife.
You're selfless. It's a good job.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are some ways that boys are not men and that men sometimes aren't men and that we all need to grow in. How's
Yep,
that?
all the time.
Yeah.
All right.
A boy is not a man.
Thank you for listening.
For all that and all that it's coming yet. For all that man to man the world o'er shall